familia, it's Alex. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. As you guys can see for the title, we are doing handled eyeshadows. I am so excited. Even though this month was very hard for me, I was dealing with allergies. I'm sure you guys are tired of me saying it, but just in case you only watch one video a month of mine, this month I lost 10 to 12 days of makeup wear because of seasonal allergies. Today, it's getting better. Yesterday, I still had a little bit of an attack, so I'm hoping by next week you guys will see me again with lashes. I'm kind of back to normal. My body's already used to it. The trees already are all bloom basically. It's currently raining outside, so I'm hoping it washes away the pollen. So today I did not wear any lashes just in case to keep my eyeballs okay. It's gotten a lot better. We're hoping we're at the end of it. So anyway, that's why you might not see a lot of progress this month, but we're here to see what we got because I do have some rollouts, surprisingly. So let's get into it. But first, if you're new to my channel, welcome to the familia. My name is Alejandra. I'm an eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash about Japan. That is something that interests you. Subscribe, join us. And now without further ado, let's get on with the update. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with my 5 shadows that I have in front of me. As always, you will see clips of before and after where we stand, what we're doing with the next month, the last month's, swatches, everything. You guys will see it all. So we're just going to go ahead and get into it. So we're going to go ahead and get started with the first shadow. This is my Coastal Scent Fall Festival palette. Last month, I rolled this in as a new eyeshadow. Now, this palette has been used quite a bit, but not excessively. So I know how these shadows work. The color that I had chosen was number 11. It doesn't have a name on the actual palette, but I know that the name of the shadow is called New Penny. And as you guys can see it now, it looks a little bit more used, but not a lot, you guys. I've only reached for this shadow 3 times. I was waiting for me to get a little bit more of a tan to incorporate this into my looks because I know I can get a lot more use out of this if I'm a little bit darker. These kind of shadows tend to wash me out in the winter fall time, or I should say winter, like dead of winter when I have no tan. Right now, kind of got a tan with these soccer games. So I'm going to definitely step up my game on this one. I have 17 more uses or to hit pan. Something tells me I might hit pan on this one because the actual shadow, it's not crumbly by any means, but it's soft. So I have a feeling I might be able to hit pan on this one. So you're going to see a lot of this one in my Instagram posts that I do, my stories where I show you my looks. You're probably going to see this one being used a lot next month. Or this month. Next up is the Zulu palette. I had rolled in the number 8 shadow, which was the red one. You guys can see in the intro, this was rolled in last month. I did use this palette. I have used it, but I never really took the time to use it a ton. Now this shadow is pretty hard to use and incorporate. And now as you guys can see, it does look a little bit used. If you see the up close, you'll probably see that it has a lot of scrapes on there. That's because whenever I get a shadow like this that overpowers my eye look, and I don't want it to just overpower every single day until I hit my goal on this look, what I do is I play around to see what I can mix with it in order to change the tone of it or to see if I can come up with a new color of it. If you guys want me to do a video of how I pan my eyeshadows so you don't get bored, let me know in the comment section because I can do that. I can do like an overhead video where I can share with you guys what I do and how I take the time to sit there and swatch, so then I know what I can mix and match to get new looks instead of having a shadow that overpowers my look like this red one. This red one's really hard to use if I don't want a red look. If I put it on the crease, it's really red because it's pigmented. If I want it on the outer V, you can really tell that I'm wearing red. So I'm very limited with this shadow because not everything goes with red. So what I've been doing is mixing and matching. I've used this shadow 7 times. Now I do like it as a liner, but I do have to be careful because if I use it as a liner with certain looks, it makes me look like I have red bloodshot eyes. So I've been using it as an outer V. I've been using it in the crease. I have learned which shadows I can mix it with to change the tone of it, and it doesn't look red on my eyes anymore, but I'm still incorporating the eyeshadow in my eye. Again, if you want to see that, I'll be more than happy to share with you guys. But I have 10 more, no, what is it, 10? 13 more uses or to hit pan. I can tell you right now, I'm not going to hit pan on this. This, I've used it 7 times and I don't even have a dip in this sucker because you don't need a lot. This red is very pigmented and it's not a deep red. It's more like a strawberry red, but it's still a red and you can really see it on my eye. So I got to figure out how to add it more. I would have had more use in this one. I probably would have at least used it 13 times if it wasn't for my allergies, honestly, because I was really in a roll with this shadow and then my allergies kicked my butt. Up next is my Viseart. This is the Theory, I don't know what this one is called, Theory palette, the Cashmere palette. When I rolled this in, this was practically brand new. I rarely even used it. I don't even know if I've ever even used this shadow. The one I rolled in was number 4. And now if you guys see this palette actually looks really nicely used. I've actually used a lot of these shadows now. I've used a lot of the shadows in here to help me with the red. I've used a lot of the shadows in here to give me neutral looks. I actually wore this whole entire eyeshadow palette out to a date night, a last minute date night, Mr. Man setup that I had no idea about. So I used this palette in there and it's beautiful. I love Viseart's mattes. Now their shimmers are not so impactful. If you're somebody that has mature eyelids and you want a satin eyeshadow that looks sophisticated and beautiful, Viseart is your person. But if you like those metallic-y, glowy in your face, glittery, don't go for the shimmers for Viseart. Their mattes are chef's kiss, but everything else, not so much if you don't like that kind. So what I've been doing with this shadow, as you guys can see it looks pretty used. I've been using this on my lower lash line. That was a tip I gave you guys in the last update, that any satins that really don't give me a pack a punch on my lid, I use them on my lower lash line. So I have been really using this on my lower lash line. I have used it all over the lid and it does look beautiful. Love this shadow with purples. I loved it with this red in here. I used it with the red ones. I've even mixed it to kind of lighten deeper shades, the deeper shimmer shades, and I've been able to use it. Now this one I've used 12 times. Some of you guys had mentioned to me that Visearts are easy to hit pan on. You've used it up to 20 times and been able to hit pan. I don't know if I'm going to hit pan on this one, to be honest with you guys. I only have 8 more times to use it and I should be able to roll it out, but it is beautiful. And now this palette looks used. This is now more of a cooler tone eyeshadow palette and I'm going for more of the warmer tones now that we're getting into the summertime. So I really got to use this up because I don't like to use cooler tones too much in the summer. All right, let's move on to my single. This is my Cargo single. This is the second round that this has been in. My goal was to finish off hitting the tallies or hit pan, and I already told you guys I wasn't going to hit pan. Last update, you guys, I think I used it only 3 times and it barely looked used. And now when you look at this eyeshadow, you can really see that I got good use out of it. There is a dip in here, but like I mentioned, these suckers are so deep that it would take me over a year to at least hit pan on this eyeshadow. This is beautiful. Used it on my lower lash line. I did use it on my lid as well. I loved how this looked when I would grab a cream shadow, one of my color tattoos or a shadow stick, put it on my lower lash line and then topped it off with this. Then this really looked impactful on the lid. Satin shadows, if you really want them to look impactful without putting them on your lower lash line, here's another tip. Use a cream base. They will really pop. And this one popped and looked beautiful. I enjoyed every bit of this. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This wasn't a burden to use. This was the popular shade in this line at its time. This is called Shanghai. And everyone really loved this one. This is the one that everyone recommended back in the day on YouTube if you were talking about Cargo single shadows. I used it 20 times. I am rolling this out. I will be rolling in a single finally. I didn't hit pan and I did not expect to hit pan. There was no way I was gonna hit pan on this unless I literally dug it with a spoon or something, but that was not gonna happen. Last but not least is my ColourPop Ooh La La. I rolled in the color Soft Ochre. As you guys saw in the last update, I did use this palette. I used it quite a bit. I did a review on this palette. I really enjoy this palette and I continue to use this palette throughout this month to even help me with this red shade because these two pair together very nicely for me to get a lot of pinky red looks. As you guys can see, Soft Ochre, it currently has pan. I'm very excited about this pan because I know that ColourPop mattes are hard to hit pan on. Certain ones are a lot softer than others, and I feel like the ones in the monochromatic pans in these palettes, they're a little bit easier to hit pan on than the 12 pans or the 16 pans or even the larger ColourPop eyeshadow palettes. These mattes in these are a lot easier to use. I ended up using this a total of 10 times. Now you're probably thinking like, how the heck did you hit that in 10 uses? I will remind you that that means I've reached for this palette 10 different days. Within those 10 days, I probably dipped in this shadow about 6 to 8 times because I would use this shadow all over my crease. Then I would switch the brush and use it to blend out this shadow on my lower lash line. So within one makeup look, I probably dipped into this eyeshadow about 8 times. 8 times and 10 days, that's about 80 times I dipped in here. So you got to think about that in perspective. Even though I only reached for this for 10 days, I reached for this shadow a ton. It was always in my crease. It was always in my lower lash line in the first half of this month. So right before the allergies hit, I really put my gun to it because this is honestly the only matte besides its red one that I could use in everyday looks, but it didn't overpower my look. It helped me. It helped me with the Flight Club palette that I was using the purple tones in it. I was using the other two collab palettes, Club Nebula and the It's Freaking Bats palette. I was using those last month, and this shadow was helping me to kind of ground those looks because it would be overpowering. So I used this shadow a ton. I was not surprised that I hit pan on it. So that means I'll also be rolling this sucker out. Now, before I get into rolling in the new shadows, I'm going to share with you guys all of my color stories since January so you guys can see an idea of how my color stories are going. All right, so we're gonna be rolling in a single and we're gonna be rolling in a new palette for this round. So I'm gonna have my singles in first. So I already put my parameters in here. Let's shake this sucker up, and it is number 40. Number 40 is Holy Cannoli. Give me a moment. Okay, just as I suspected, that is a single shadow that is black. And you guys know I do not pan black eyeshadows. So this is the first time this has actually happened to me since last year. So that's why I haven't pulled out my blacks. Because what are the chances of how many shadows I have with the thousands of single shadows that I have in every single palette? The chances of me getting a black is very slim. This is my first time. So believe it or not, that's actually not bad. So I'm going to re-roll because I will not be panning that black one. 44. Holy cannoli. This is Kat Von D's Iggy. I got the black one of Kat Von D, and there was no way I was going to pan that sucker. And I got Iggy. Iggy is like a green shadow. So that's not bad, actually. So I'll pull that out. Now let's go to the palette that I will be pulling out. Okay, so now let's do our palette choice. Of course, you always do that to me. What the? Am I hitting a button? There we go. 279. All right, let's see. Ah, this is nice. All right, I'm gonna go pull this out. It's the Lime Crime Venus XL2 palette that I have yet to use, which I was actually thinking about that the other day. So let me pull these two items out, and then that way we can randomize what shadow in the Lime Crime I will be using. Give me a moment. Okay, so my single is Iggy by Kat Von D, which looks like this. I have had this in a Shop My Stash, so you can kind of see a little dip in there going on. I don't know if I'm going to hit pan on this. This has 2.8 grams, you guys. The Cargo one has 3.5. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to hit pan on this. I'm just going to hit the 20 uses of it. This is interesting because this is nice for the summer, but I didn't expect to get a green. I wish I would have got this green in March, but that's besides the point. And I already have a swatch here. As you guys can see, these are the 3 shadows I already have. And here is Iggy. Now here is my Lime Crime Venus Venus XL2 palette. This was a gift from my friend Lisa, I believe. And it's so funny because I was just thinking about what to pull out for the month of May for my Shop My Stash. This is a palette that I wanted to pull out and never did. Here's what this one looks like. It's a little bit muted, but it is springy-like. So I know it's the reflection. So I'm going to count to see how many shadows in here. We're going to see what shadow I will be panning. So there's 18 shadows. As you guys know, I go across. So let's see which one. 11. Okay. So here we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which is this shadow right here, which is called Radiant. It's a white gold. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's like a white gold. Okay, well this would give me an opportunity to play around with this palette in general too, because I haven't really played around with it. As you guys can see, I haven't touched it. So we're gonna play around with this palette. I'm actually excited about that. So here's our new color story. So my goal is to work on these top 3, get them out since they already are going on their second round, and that's always my goal, and then work on these 2. I do though have a feeling that this one's gonna get rolled out, this one's gonna get rolled out, and probably the red. And we're probably gonna end up with these 2. I don't know. That's just my guess with the way that I have been panning. Now that summer is coming to you guys, I always kind of slow down on using eyeshadows on my eyes. I tend to just do 1 or 2 eyeshadows per look because it gets so hot and humid. I don't want my makeup to melt down, so I tend to use a lot of cream products and like a 1 shadow look done. So we're gonna see how I do, because I tend to slow down in the summer and then pick it right back up in September. So we're gonna see how we do with this. And I also want to let you guys know that out of all the palettes, I can tell you that these, I already used these a ton all over the place. This one I'm probably going to use all over the place. This one's going to be my hard one because these are all shimmers. So I think I'm only going to be concentrating on this shadow, and that's it, because the rest are all shimmers minus this one that's a brow bone shade. So I don't think this will be in my ranking for the next round because this is all shimmers and I can't really incorporate too many on a look without having any matte. So that's it, you guys. That is it for my Pan Those Eyeshadows. We're going to be working on these. I'm actually excited to see what I come up with. I'm always like thinking of different ways of incorporating stuff. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and bearing with me this past month with all of my issues going on. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I will catch you guys in one of the videos on the screen if you're interested. And if not, I'll catch you guys next week. Until then, adios.